Alright, hello and welcome to your next C# tutorial. This is your 6th C# tutorial, and right now I'm just adding this line that we always have at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you about a couple more types of variables. That's going to be double, float, and bool, and char. Okay, so a double and a float are pretty much the same thing. Pretty much it's just a number with a decimal point. So essentially a double x could be 1.5 or something, and a double y could also be 1.5. The difference is that a double can store a larger number than a float can. That's really the main difference between them, and that's really what I have to keep in mind. So if you're for some reason like crunched for memory, use floats, and the numbers aren't going to be too big. Otherwise, use doubles, and you can make them like really big numbers compared to the floats. And that's it. It's just basically it's just a number. Bool or booleans, however, it's either true or it's false. So if I have a boolean like quit, for example, and I set it to false, this means, you know, quit is false, but I can also set quit to true. And this is essentially, this is what conditions do. All conditions end up, essentially, you can think of the equal sign as a function. And it is a function, actually. All it does is it takes, well, if x is equal to y, then we, like x is equal to y, like this. Essentially, what it's saying is, if x equals y, it's evaluating this function first, and then it's really saying if true. You can write if true and have it be valid code. Whoops, I should probably not have that char in there. That's what's causing the issues. Anyway, you can write if true, because all if does is it checks to the thing over here is true. You can just write if quit. And essentially that means if quit is true, then you run it. If it's false, you don't run it. In this case, it would not be run because quit is false. And something else you can do is you can actually set quit to a condition. So you could set quit to x equals y, because it is just like a function, essentially. So if I have x equals 50 and int y, that did not go, int y equals 48, you could set bool quit to x equals y, and they could just compare this. This is exactly the same thing as just doing this, by the way. But you can do this. It'll just tell you. So right now, quit will equal false because x does not equal y. Also, if you were curious how to do does not equal, you do exclamation point equals. It's called bang equals if you're one of those people who actually cares about that. I personally just like to call it exclamation point equals or not equals is what I usually call it. But if you're really curious, I believe that is the proper terminology for it, or at least the widely used terminology. So that's a quick overview on variable types. However, I'm going to teach you a couple more things about variables. One of them is when you're declaring them, you can write int x equals 0, and then you can just write a comma y equals 50, for example. Now, this is the equivalent of writing int x equals 0 and then int y equals 50. It can be time saving, and sometimes it's more clear. You just have to make sure that obviously these are all of the same type, because you don't declare a type the second time. All these must be integers. If they're not integers, it won't work. You can't do y equals this. That won't work, because it's like, well, that's supposed to be a number, not a string, or not text. It's supposed to be a number. So if you write a number, then it's okay with it. If it's not, don't write a number, then it starts, you know, get angry with you and call down the fires of hell. Whatever. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.